Well, hi, welcome back. This is Chris. The date today is June 28th, year of our Savior, 2016. Yes. And this is going to be Bible study number 61. Bible study number 61. And the title of this Bible study, that is a very good question. The title of this Bible study is going to be Priestcraft-Artificial Device. Like I said, we're going to be on priestcraft a while. This is priestcraft-artificial device. Now, I just want to let you know that there's going to be a little bit of adult content because what transpired in the Garden of Eden and what this priestcraft system is all about is really based upon sexual connotations, and they have a direct correlation to the anatomy and physiology of the anatomical position on the body, human body. So let us pick up from last Bible study. We saw for the first 300 years of early Christianity, people met in homes without an episcopal hierarchical religious system run by the head bishop or Pontifex Maximus, called the Pope or Papa Father. Okay? When Constantine legalized Christianity, the assembly moved out of houses and became part of the religious corporation, which involves buildings or temples to worship God. This episcopal cathedral system has created the current style church system seen today. Prior to the Reformation, all cathedrals of Western Europe were of the Roman Catholic Church, proving that the Middle Ages of Western European history was controlled and dominated by the papacy or Roman Catholicism. This episcopal hierarchy specific to Christian denominations comes from Rome forming cathedrals. The Western Catholic Church became universal in the 12th century, by which time they had developed architectural forms, institutional structures, and legal identities, which are religious corporations. Okay, so now we're going to get into the church buildings. Church buildings. All right, so we see, well, let's start with what an artificial device is. I coined this term. It is really a counterfeit. See, Satan counterfeits everything. So we see that an artificial device is a counterfeit that is founded on truth, thus the great deception. The religious corporation founded on Roman concepts is an artificial device that takes titles that belong to God. Revere, reverend, venerate, holy, hallowed, sacred, father, papa, rabbi, master, reverence, worship, full, master, holy order, etc. The powers of the artificial device are to make sacred or consecrate. This is sacerdotalism, from the Latin sacerdos, meaning Roman priest, from the College of Pontiffs, a religious corporation from the Latin corpus or corpora. The word college comes from the prefix call or com or con, meaning together, and leg is defined as law. Thus, college in the age of antiquity in Western European history was a corpus, or plural corpora, or a religious corporation of a body of clergy living together on a foundation. This became a building used for an educational or religious purpose. The Council of Trent used the Roman concept of going through an educational institution to indoctrinate students to become clergy. This institution of higher learning for the training of candidates for the priesthood is called seminary. Now, a seminary or theological college or divinity school is an educational institution for educating students, sometimes called seminarians. In theology, generally to prepare them for ordination as clergy or for other ministry. The English word is taken from the Latin seminarium, translated as seedbed, an image taken from the Council of Trent document, Cum Adolescentium Aetus, which called for the first modern seminaries. And that's taken from the canons and decrees of the Sacred and Ecumenical Council of Trent, pages 170 to 192. Now in the West, the term now refers to the Roman Catholic educational institutes and has widened to include other Christian denominations and American Jewish institutions. Now we see that the male hierarchical priesthood gained power through the generative process. This comes from the sacrum apron region. The genitalia, or the external sexual organ of a man, is the genesis or origin of something coming into existence. Through the genitals of a man is the power to generate or procreate, beget. This is why a man desiring to enter the priesthood must go through seminary. Seminary means seedbed, nursery, seminary, from the Latin seminarium, from semen or semen, seed. Number one, an environment in which something originates and from which it is propagated. That means to cause or increase by sexual reproduction. Number two, an institution for the training of candidates for the priesthood, ministry, or rabbinate. And number three, an institution of higher learning. That's taken from your collegiate dictionary under seminary, page 787. Seminary comes from the word semen, which is the seed of a man. Seminary. I'm going to hit this over and over again, folks. So repetition is the mother or the mastery of skill. You don't just do something once and then everything's, oh, I get it. No, it takes time to get it to, all this is doing is to deprogram you, because we've been indoctrinated and we hear something once. And then, it's like, oh, well, I'm good now. No, it takes time, okay? If you want to be proficient at anything in life, it's repetition. If it's shooting or sports or whatever it is, it takes repetition. So we see seminarian is a student in a seminary, especially of the Roman Catholic Church. That's under seminarian, page 787. Seminal, Latin seminalis, from semen or semen, seed, more at semen. Number one, of or relating to or consisting of seed or semen, having the character of originative power, principle, or source, germinative, original. Then we get into seminiferous, Latin semen or semen, seed, plus iferous, producing or bearing seed or semen. That's taken from seminiferous, page 788. And then, of course, we get into semi-official, having some official authority or standing. You notice that is what, the concept of the seed of a man is where you get this position of power. Now we see that the foundations of the sacerdotal religious system has its roots in the commemoration of the adulterous sexual act in the Garden of Eden with Eve producing Cain. This is a foundation of the Canaanite priesthood. The dome or basilica represents the matrix or womb where something is generated. The obelisk is a phallic symbol representing the penis of the man. The male priesthood, located in the basilica, dome, duomo, cathedral, church building, creates a generative process that is needed for salvation. Yes, this is all about works-based religious system. This is a foundation of the sacrum, semen, semi-official, sacerdotal, mother church system. The dome and the obelisk, representing the feminine and the masculine, are important concepts in the ancient mystery religion transferred to Rome. The priestcraft system makes reference to the anatomy of the human body, specifically the reproductive area. For example, sacerdotalism, sacrament, sacred, sacrifice have a direct connection to the sacrum area of the human body, and seminary required for ordination comes from the male seed called semen. The obelisk is a phallic symbol representing the male penis, and the dome represents the womb or midriff of a female. And we see incorporate. Remember, we're talking about corporation. Incorporate, verb transitive, is in corpora or corpus, okay? Corpus means body. And then it says more at midriff, and that's referring to the midriff, or referring to the area of on a woman specifically. That's where you have, that's where the magic is. That's where the uterus is. Now, number 1A means to unite thoroughly with or work indistinguishably into something already existent. 1B means to admit membership into a corporation. This is all about being a member in a corporation. That's what it is. That's what religion is all about. And 2A means to blend or combine thoroughly to form a consistent whole, and 2b is to form into a legal corporation. That's what these religious organizations are. They're legal corporations. And then to give material form, embody. Remember, we talked about embody means to hand over to a spirit, to deprive of spirituality. And that's what happens when you become part of a religious corporation. You sign over your individualism and you become part of a body, and it's a mass amount of people, whatever it is, and it unites it into one individual, okay, legally. And then you follow the priestcraft, you follow the hierarchy, you follow the clergy. Now, midriff, English midriff from the Old English, midriff from middle, mid, plus riff, belly. And that's akin to the Old High German ref, body, and also related to the Latin corpus. So that's a direct connection to corpus, and that's where you get the corpus or corpora, and that's where you get the word corporation. That's also where you get the word corpse or core. Now, the embody, as I mentioned before, is to give a body to a spirit, incarnate, to deprive of spirituality, to make concrete or perceptible, to cause to become a body or part of a body, incorporate. Number 4 is to represent in human or animal form, personify. And that's under embody, page 270. So now we get into church building when we're talking about the religious corporation. Now, there are 4 basic parts to a Roman Christian church system. Number 1, you have a building. Number 2, you have the priesthood. Number 3, you have the laity. And number 4, you have corporate worship, also known as public divine worship. Upon entering the building, church building, the membership enters the vestibule, which is an anteroom, a room placed before or forming an entrance to another, and often used as a waiting room, a small foyer, an anteroom or lobby, entrance, hallway. Vestibule, leading into the nave. So that's the first part of the building. Okay, vestibule. Now, Latin. Vestibulum. Number 1, a passage, hall, or room between the outer door and the inner door of a building. Lobby, any of various bodily cavities, especially when serving as or resembling an entrance to some other cavity or space. And that's taken from your Collegiate Dictionary 1967, vestibule, page 989. We're going to start in the shallow end of the pool. My lips are a vestibule, okay? They're an entrance into a cavity. Now, I'm not talking about teeth and cavity, but I'm talking about into a cavity or an open space on your body. And you notice that the vestibule is a double set of doors, okay? A double set of doors. One from the outside, and then you're not quite in the church building yet. The vestibule, you're not quite in the church building. So it's important to understand that. Now, cavity, noun from the Latin cavus or hollow, an unfilled space within a mass, especially a space hollowed out. Under cavity, page 133. Church, noun from Greek kurios, Lord, master, from kuros, power, akin, similar to Latin cavus, or hollow, more at cave. So we're getting into cavus, cavity. They're interlinked. But you notice that the name church has changed. See, church from the biblical perspective was ecclesia, and through faith in Jesus Christ we are the ecclesia. But no, now it's shifted to kurios, which means Lord, master, power. Now, church, number 1, means a building, temple for public, especially Christian worship. Number 2 is the clergy or the officialdom of a religious body. Number 3 is a body, like a corpus, or organization of religious believers as the whole body of Christians or denomination or congregation. Now, a lot of times people go, what building do you go to? What denomination are you a part of? What congregation are you a part of? What corporation are you a part of? What religious corporation are you a part of? And I'm here to say, I'm not part of any religious corporation, okay? Now, number 4 means public divine worship, or also corporate worship or corporation. And that's taken from the Webster 7th New Collegiate Dictionary, 1967, church, subscript number 1, page 149. So now we see that the vestibule is an, quote, an entrance to some other cavity or unfilled space, end quote. Vestibule has a twofold meaning, one relating to a building and the other to the anatomical location on the human body. This is where it's going to get really interesting, folks, because I know a lot of people are going, oh, no, come on, no way. And I'm going to go through very gradually because most people won't be able to accept it. The concept of the architectural style incorporating the vestibule in the building of temples goes back to antiquity. Now remember, the Western European history is broken down into 3 parts. You have antiquity, that was pagan, Greco-Roman or paganism. Then you had the Middle Ages. That started about, 500 AD to about 1500 AD, and that was Papal Rome. That was the Dark Ages when Roman Catholicism reigned supreme and martyred a lot of Christians. Bible-believing Christians launched a crusade against them, and that's probably, conservative estimates would be 40 million, butchering men, women, and children. And then, of course, the last part of Western European history is the modern era, which we're in today. Now, we see a vestibule. Let's define a vestibule from an encyclopedia is an anteroom, an antechamber, or small foyer leading into a larger space, such as a lobby, entrance hall, passageway, etc., for the purpose of waiting, withholding the larger space view, reducing heat, providing space for outwear, etc. The term applies to structures in both modern and historical architectural since ancient times. This goes back into antiquity. Yes, Greco-Roman times. In modern architecture, a vestibule typically refers to a small room next to the outer door and connecting it with the interior of the building. In ancient Roman architecture, vestibule, Latin for vestibulum, referred to a partially enclosed area between the interior of the house and the street. Vestibules were common in ancient Greek temples due to the construction techniques available at the time. It was not possible to build large spans. Consequently, many entranceways had 2 rows of columns. All right, so we see that in ancient Roman architecture, where the term originates, a vestibule was a space between the interior of a building and the street. The structure was a mixture between a modern hall and a porch. Upon entering a Roman house or a domus, one would have to pass through the vestibule before entering the atrium. From the 5th century on, vestibules were used in Christian churches in both the East and the West. That's under vestibule, under vestibule architecture. Now we see that the concept of the vestibule in architecture goes back to antiquity, specifically the ancient Greek and Roman civilization in the building of beautiful temples made with hands. Actually, the term vestibule originates in ancient Rome. The vestibule passed into the Romanesque architectural style and then to the Gothic in the Middle Ages and was continued into the modern era where the vestibule is incorporated into church buildings of today. So we see that the Romanesque and then into the Gothic, that was an architectural time during the Middle Ages of Western European history. That was a time dominated by Roman Catholicism or Papal Rome. Now Romanesque comes from what? Break it down. I'll give you a hint. Roman. Yes. Yeah, real tough one, wasn't it? Congratulations, you passed the test. So it's just showing this stamp of Romanism, pagan Romanism that it borrowed from. Remember I said that Roman Catholicism is a mixture of Christianity and paganism. So the definition of vestibule has a twofold meaning. The first definition is referring to a building made with hands, and the second refers to specific locations on the human body. A vestibule is an entrance to a cavity or unfilled space within a mass. Now we're going to get into the mother goddess worship. Okay? Because I can't go into the deep end of the pool yet, folks. We've got to build it up. Mother goddess worship. Satan was the mediator, middleman between God and mankind, Adam and Eve, in the Garden of Eden, resulting in adultery. Adam and his wife Eve both committed adultery and knew they were naked and were ashamed. To cover up their shame, they made aprons to cover up their sacrum, pelvic, pubic region, or their genitalia. God declares in Genesis 3:16 that he will greatly multiply thy sorrow or pain in childbirth, which is a connection to the act of coitus or sexual intercourse. This action adulterated or corrupted the direct communication Adam and Eve had with God. This is a reason why Jesus Christ came into the world to die for the sins of his people. The consequence of this act was to make him pure by the addition of a foreign substance, spurious. The result was Cain, who was of the offspring of the prince of this world and the beginning of his earthly principality with the first city and religious system. This is the foundation of the mystery Babylonian system where the woman Eve, being the first to disobey God, was deified to make a god of, to take as an object of worship, as the original Queen of Heaven, also known as Mary in Roman Catholicism today. Thus, the foundation of the Mother Church system, or the mediatrix feminine of mediator religious system. The Mother Goddess worship spread throughout the post-flood world into every civilization. Quote, a Mother Goddess is a goddess who represents or is a personification of nature, motherhood, fertility, creation, destruction, or embodies the bounty of the earth. When equated with the earth or the natural world, such goddesses are sometimes referred to as Mother Earth or as the Earth Mother. That's taken from your online encyclopedia, Mother Goddess, under Wikipedia. Genesis 3:20 clearly records, and Adam called his wife's name Eve because she was the mother of all living. Eve equals the first Mother Goddess. Now, I'll say that again. Eve equals the first Mother Goddess. Now let's look at some other names. I'm going to do my best to pronounce these. Mother Goddess worship goes back into antiquity, penetrating every ancient civilization. In fact, Mother Goddess worship is truly a Catholic, yes, a Catholic, or comprehensive, covering completely or universal religion. The Mother Goddess goes by many names. Venus of Wildendorf, Isis, Ishtar, Semiramis, Hathor, Birth Lady, Nekbet, Pachamama, Virgin of Candelaria, Chaxaraxi, Yoruba, Isan, and Oyas, Tasi, Adabe, Ninsun, Asherah, Ashtart, Nin, Hersag, Sibel, Gaia, Rhea, Hera, Demeter, Artemis, Diana, Tellus, or Terra Mater, or Mother Earth, Ceres, Venus, Magna, Dia, Juno, or Minerva, Virgin Mary, Medamna, Madonna, Nike, yes, the shoe that you wear. Nike, the Greek goddess of victory, usually represented as winged and as carrying a wreath and a palm tree. Anu, Dia Matrona, Matres, Latin for mothers, Nerthus, Frigg, Makash, Tanri, Durga, Kali, yes, Kali, Shakti, we're going to talk about Shakti, divine feminine creative power, Tara, Devi, Adipara, Shakti. Woo! Wow! And that's just a partial list, folks. Now, the Mother Goddess symbology was incorporated into the medieval architecture of cathedrals. I'm going to say that again. The Mother Goddess symbology was incorporated into the Middle Ages architecture dominated by Roman Catholicism architecture of cathedrals. Quote, the Normans had a major influence on English Romanesque architecture when they built a large number of Christian monasteries, abbeys, churches, and cathedrals. These Romanesque styles originated in Normandy and became widespread in northwestern Europe, particularly in England, which has the largest number of surviving examples. Now we're going to get into Sheila na gigs. Yes, folks. Sheila na gigs, folks. We're going to talk about Sheila na gigs. I'm going to spell this for you because I want you to prove all things. All right? S-H-E-E-L-A space N-A-G-I-G. Sheila na gig. is a common stone carving found in Romanesque Christian churches scattered throughout Europe. These female figures are found in Ireland, Great Britain, France, Spain, Switzerland, Norway, Belgium, and in the Czech Republic. Their meaning is not clearly identifiable as Christian. You think? You got to look this up, folks. It's this female caricature, this figure with an exaggerated vulva. Yes, the woman's vulva, okay, the Vesca Pisces, which takes up about a third of the feminine figure. Look this stuff up, folks. And she's taking her fingers and opening it up. Yes, it's her vagina. But an accurate term would be her vulva, okay? Because that's what the accurate term is. All right. Yeah. Crazy, isn't it? Oh, it's great. You got to look it up. It's unbelievable. Now, these are all over Europe. They're all over the cathedrals, okay? Now, their meaning is not clearly identifiable as Christian. Yeah, you think? And maybe a concept that survived from ancient forms of yoni worship. Yes, yoni. Yoni worship. Look this up in your collegiate dictionary, folks. Y-O-N-I, or yoni. Sanskrit. Yoni literally means vagina or womb. I don't make this stuff up, folks. He is a symbol of the goddess Shakti or Devi, the Hindu divine mother, and you get into sacred prostitution. All yoked with all this stuff. Where do you think these naked women figures come from? It's related to sacred prostitution. Now, sacred prostitution or temple prostitution or cult prostitution or religious prostitution is a sexual ritual consisting of sexual intercourse or other sexual activity performed in the context of religious worship as a form of fertility, a rite in divine marriage. Heragamos. We'll pick it up next time, folks. Inquiring minds want to know. God willing, prove all things. Jesus loves you. Thank you.